Alright, so far, for an obby, we've learned how to make parts move, okay, using these objects called constraints. Okay, so we know we can make objects move back and forth by using a prismatic constraint object, and we've also learned that we can make objects turn about a point using a hinge constraint. Okay, and there's some other constraints here, but these are the most common ones I've used. And we also know that we can make parts stuck to each other using a weld, and we can also make parts not collide with each other using no collision. Okay, so these other ones are cool too, but the four that I just mentioned, hinge, prismatic, weld, and collision, are the most useful ones that I've learned to use. So okay, to the next part that we usually have in an obby, okay, is so we talked a little bit about how we can make our games interactive. So we learned about some things like the proximity prompt, okay, and we also learned about the click detector. Okay, so some of these things can make our obbies more interactive. Okay, but none of the things that we've learned about so far. So I can interact with this and I can click this, but none of the things that we learned about so far have allowed us to affect the player in some way. Okay, so maybe you might want to have an object do damage to the player, or you might want to have an object slow me down or speed me up. Okay, or maybe you might want to have or maybe you might want to teleport me. So I might want to step on a part and like go to another location, or I might want to, or you might want to have the character change, right? So if I have my character here, you might want to have like another character, and you might want it to change while the game is running. So all these things I just talked about make the game more interactive. Okay, and it's going to be one of the last few things I talk about regarding obbies before we move on to another game type that is common on Roblox. Okay. All right. So first off, whenever I explain how we can affect the character, I always like to add in a dummy into my game. Okay, so a dummy, or let me I'm just gonna reduce some of these plugins so we don't have to so it looks more like what you might see. So there's lots of useful plugins in Roblox, okay, but these are the ones that we start off with by default. And one cool plugin allows us to build a rig, okay, and so a rig is just something that we can animate, which we'll talk about in the future. Okay, but we can also use these rigs to view what a character looks like. Okay, so every character, okay, in Roblox has to have a humanoid. Okay, and then it also has the limbs. Okay, so the left foot, right foot, and oops. So yeah, all the body parts that a character has. Okay, and so this humanoid is an object, and like any other object, it has properties. Okay, so some of the more common properties you might use is health. Okay, so I can change the health to like 50, and we see the dummy's health decrease. Let me actually go in game here to mess with some of these other properties. Okay, so this is my character, and my character also has some cool properties, and so I'm gonna go ahead and make the walk speed like 8. Okay, and so, or let me first be normal. So this is like the normal walk speed. If I set this to like 4, okay, now much slower. Okay. Another cool one is, so I already talked about health. My health has been decreased here. Another cool one is jump power. Or wait, or I think jump height. Yeah, so right now the default jump height is 7.2, but I can make this like 20. I'll jump 20 studs in the air instead. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So let's say I want to make a part so that when I step on it, okay, it deals like 10 damage to the character. Okay, so I'm gonna make this part here, and I'm gonna name it, I'm just gonna call it lava, and I'm gonna make this red. Make the material granite, so it has this like warped look to it, and I'm gonna add a script into it. And like every time, I'm gonna add a comment for variables, functions, and events. And we're gonna make a variable for lava, and so I want only when the lava is touched, okay, I want to damage what it's touched, okay. So the script won't know that the thing that it's trying to damage, okay, belongs to a character by default, okay. So so to use this touched event, okay, like always, I'm gonna say the name of the object that owns the event. So the lava is the part that has the event, and I'm gonna say dot, okay, and I can scroll down to the lightning symbols here that display the different events, and I'm gonna use touched. And when it is touched, I want to connect a function to it. All right, and so we're gonna create a function called let's just call it print part that was touched. Okay, and okay, whenever we have an event, okay, we learned that these events sometimes pass something into the function that we connect. Okay, so if I forget what is passed in, okay, I know that when I know that it shows here on the event section the parameter that is passed in. So whenever a part is touched, I get access to the other part that touched it. Okay, to be descriptive, I sometimes like to call it the part, or other part that got touched. Okay, so whenever a touch happens, two things must be touching, and so I always have access to the first thing because I defined it, but I won't have access to the other thing unless I define it here. And so, and then of course we need to connect this function here. All right, and so I'm going to print other part that got touched dot name. All right, so we actually see right off the bat base plate printed because this lava touched the base plate when the game began. Okay. Also, if I walk on it, you see right foot, left foot. Okay, print. Okay. All right. But what I want to happen is when I step on this part, okay, I need to, using the fact that the only thing I have access to, the only information I have, is the other part. Okay, how can I get the humanoid? Okay, so we see here that the left foot, the left lower leg, all these other limbs are printing here. Okay, but what I want is the humanoid, and remember the humanoid is not a physical thing. Okay, Well, if I know that I have one of these body parts, okay, I know that these body parts are siblings, okay, of the humanoid here, okay. So, and they're siblings because they have the same parent, okay. So, um, if I know that they have the same parent, okay, I can make some assumptions, okay. So, um, let's say that, okay, um, okay, I'm gonna say that character is gonna be defined as the other part that got touched dot parent, okay. Right. So I'm just making an assumption here, and then now that I know that I have the character, okay, I can then assume that the character has a child called the humanoid. So I can say local humanoid is equal to character dot humanoid. Okay, and then let's print humanoid dot health. Okay, so right off the bat I do see an error, okay, but we're gonna ignore that for now. But when I walk on the part, okay, I see that 100 prints. Okay, it's because that's how much health that my humanoid has. Okay, so the reason we got an error is because the base plate obviously does not have a humanoid in it. Okay, the base plate is not a character. Okay, so but that's fine. As you notice, it doesn't break the script. Okay, because if you have an error in a connected in a function that you connect to an event, it doesn't prevent the script from working. It'll still work. It'll still work when your assumption is correct. Okay. And so I'm going to show you a bit later what we can do to we can use an if statement to verify that our character has a humanoid instead of just assuming it does. Right. But what I want to do now is I want to decrease the humanoid's health by 10. Okay, so to do that I can say humanoid.health is equal to humanoid.health minus 10. So if I step on this, I just took some damage, took some more damage. All right, as you can see, that event triggered multiple times because my feet, it's hard to just make it touch once, okay? Because I'm making lots of movement here, so we can. Well, I might have time to show you guys later what we can do to make sure it only damages maybe once per every few seconds or something. So, all right. So next, okay, maybe I might want to make a part that slows the player down. Okay, and so, okay, maybe you might have like a muddy area. Okay, or all right, and I'm just gonna call this mud. Script in here. And of course we want when the mud is touched to do something. And then we might want a function called slow down. Okay, and every single event that we're going to connect to a touched event, okay, we must remember to it will still work if you don't include the input, but you won't have access to the other part that got touched. So, and again, we're just going to assume that the character is a parent of this, and we're going to assume that this character has a humanoid. So Okay, so to slow the humanoid down, I'm just going to make the walk speed less than 16. Okay, so I'm going to say humanoid dot walk speed is going to be equal to humanoid dot walk speed minus, let's say, 10. Or actually, this is going to keep decreasing my walk speed till it's 0. So instead, I'm just going to assign it to I'm just going to assign it to 6. Okay. Actually, one way we can prevent that error from firing, okay, is if we anchor these. So then gravity is not going to pull the parts down. All right. So if I step on this, I'm now slow. Okay. And so maybe we can add a wait here. So maybe wait 2 seconds, and then make the walk speed go back to 16. Okay. However, if they keep stepping on this mud, this function is gonna continue to apply this walk speed decrease, so until they get off of it. Actually, it's not as not as smooth as I hoped it would be, but yeah, as you can see, like it would like trigger it. It would make it 16 and then go back to 6. But yeah, you get the picture. All right, and then also you might want to make a maybe a part to give you a speed boost. So you might want to be able to like jump up high onto this platform or something. So I'll call this jump power giver. I don't know. And I'm just going to copy this. It's going to be the same structure. You guys can probably guess how this code is going to go. I will give you guys like little challenges that you guys could like attempt to do on your own that are going to be different, but like still use like what's like talked about in the training, so you could like try to do stuff on your own too. But we're going to connect increase jump power, and we're going to be changing a different property this time, jump power, and we can make this or not jump power, jump height, I think it's called. Oh, it is jump. Oh wait. Okay, I think it's jump height, but for some reason this dummy has jump power, but it's fine. Alright, so I'm going to say humanoid dot jump height is going to be equal to 20. And then we're going to wait 2 seconds and set the jump height back to 7.2. Okay, and we're just going to make this like maybe a yellow. So my jump power is too weak to get up onto there, but if I get up onto here, it's still not good enough. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so and then finally, if we want to make a teleporter, okay, what I want to do is not affect the humanoid, but there's something called the humanoid root part. Okay, so every model. Okay, so a character is just a model. Okay, so a model is just a grouping of parts. Okay, so if I have all these parts here, I can select it and right-click group, and it'll actually put them into a model for me. Okay, and so this model moves around the parts as a unit. Okay, I can still move the parts individually if I click on it individually in the Explorer, but if I move the model around, and they move together. Okay, and so this dummy, okay, and Roblox characters are also models. Okay, the main difference between this model and the character model is that the character model has a humanoid. So you can think of the humanoid as bringing the group of parts to life. And all right, so and every model or most models have something called a primary part. Okay, they have a property called primary part. So this is like the core of the model, or like the base part. Okay, and so what we can do is if I want to teleport, let's say I want to teleport /73 to okay, if I want to teleport my character to this part, okay, what I would need to do is set the position of my humanoid root part. Okay, so I can change so I'm gonna copy the position of this part right here, right, and then I'm gonna paste that position information into here. Okay, and I just got teleported, and I think I was stuck in there for a second. All right, but that's what we want to accomplish. Okay, so when I step on some like first part, when I like step on this part, I want my position to change to this one. Okay, and so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna make a part here. I'm gonna make this maybe. So I don't know if you guys have played Portal, but in Portal we have like an orange and then a blue portal, and I'm gonna call this orange portal and then blue portal. Okay, and I'm gonna anchor these. I'm add a script in here, and the structure is very similar to what we've done before, except we have to define two parts. Okay, I need to define both of these in the script of this one. Okay, and we're just gonna make a one-way teleporter. Okay, so I'm gonna say orange portal is going to be equal to script dot parent, and then blue portal is going to be equal to game dot workspace dot blue portal, and we're going to make a function called teleport player or teleport character. And we want when the orange portal is touched to connect teleport character. All right, so what I want to do here is still, or actually I don't want to define the humanoid anymore because I don't care about this, but I do care about a humanoid root part. Okay. Oh, by the way, do you have any questions so far at all?
I'm good so far. I don't know about anyone
All right.
else.
Yeah. Sometimes I just keep rambling on, but feel free to stop me. Okay, so we're gonna say um, humanoid root. What I want to do is change the position of the humanoid root part. So I'm gonna say humanoid root part dot position. Okay, and I want to assign it to a group of 3 numbers. Okay, so how I teach vectors to students is that a vector is just a group of numbers. Okay, and so we can have vector 3s, vector 4s, vector 100s. Okay, all vector means is a grouping of numbers. And so I want to create a new vector 3, and this vector 3 needs oh wait, what am I doing? You don't need to do this. You can say blue. We want to teleport it. So I could have done one of 2 things. I could have got the position data, copied it, and then pasted it into here. Okay, but I think logically it just makes more sense to just say I want the humanoid root part's position to be equal to the blue portal's position. Okay, both ways are valid, and yeah, so that's that. Okay, so then if I play here and I step on this, I get teleported to there. I do get teleported and like placed inside. Okay, so maybe I might want to get teleported to blue portal's position and then plus vector3 dot new. Okay, so I want it to be added by 2 on the y-axis. All right. Okay, cool. The reason I'm not making this a 2-way teleport is because if I were to make this also teleport to this when it's touched, then we'd be like going back and forth, because as soon as I get teleported to this, I touch this, and then I get teleported back to this. So we'd have to definitely code our script a bit differently. Okay, any questions so far?
I have a like a small question. I
Mm-hmm.
have a student that wants to do like teleporting, but it's she's doing like a role playing game, so it's kind of just it's like a Harry Potter role playing game where it's like scheduled. So she wants to make it so that a button will show up on your screen like a GUI, and
Mm-hmm.
then you click it and then you teleport to your class. So would it be
Oh,
like kind of the same thing, but just using like
very.
the
It would be
GUI?
exactly using GUIs instead, and GUIs have a different event called uh, activated. Okay, or not activated. Mouse button 1 touch. So um, actually, okay. If I have time after the next part, I'll definitely show you how to do that, or I could show you after to how we'd program that. It's not too much.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So um, okay. So now the next thing we want to know is I have my character. Okay. And we've also been talking about the difference between the player. So the player is what controls. Okay. By controls, I mean when I press W on my keyboard, okay, the character like responds to my input. Okay. But the player is the one controlling the character. Okay. And then the character is this guy right here. Okay. So I can delete the character, but my player still exists. Okay. It's just not controlling anything anymore. Um, so, okay, what I want to do is Let me go get something real quick. All right. So some of you guys might recognize this guy. What I want to do let me just gonna delete his animations real quick. All right, so what I want to do, okay, is when I like step on this part, okay, I don't want this to be my character anymore. I want my character to be Steve. Okay, so this is my character. So character is not a child of /73. Notice how the player only has 4 children. Okay, backpack, starter gear, player GUI, and player scripts. The player GUI is where we actually have all the GUIs of our game. If I delete this, then I don't have chat anymore. So, or if I try to bring it up, yeah, I can't bring up chat anymore. But character is a property, okay, of /73. And so I'm going to click here, okay, and make this the character. Oh wait, actually I have to do it on here. Oh wait, or maybe I have to say game.players /73.character is going to be equal to game.workspace.starter character. Okay, there we go. Alright, so my character got changed, okay. Obviously the camera is still, it still doesn't know what to focus correctly, okay. But we're gonna go, I'm gonna show you how we can change the focus too, okay. But now that /73 is controlling a different character, my inputs go to him, okay. And there are no animations because those have to be programmed, okay. But this still works. And to make my camera focus the starter character, or specifically, we want the character to the camera to focus the humanoid. What I can do is say, okay, so the camera has a property called camera subject, okay, and this just needs to be reassigned here, okay, and so we're gonna say this is gonna be the humanoid here, okay, and so now my character's humanoid has been reassigned. Okay. All right. One important thing to note here is the reason I had to reassign the camera, okay, is when you change your character to a character that's in workspace, okay, the camera does not switch automatically, okay. What I should have done instead, all right. So again, I'm going to reassign the character that /73 controls, but this time the character is in server storage, okay. And so instead I'm going to say game.players./73.character is going to be equal to game.server-storage.starter character. Okay, and then I'm going to make the starter character. I'm gonna change the parent of the starter character to workspace. So I'm gonna say game.server-storage.starter character parent is gonna be game.workspace. Okay, and I did not have to reassign the camera focus now. It automatically adjusted. Okay, so this is how we want to do it, because if we try to, it's actually not super easy to reassign the camera. We'd have to learn about, we'd have to understand client versus server code. But if you just put it in, if you assign it while it's not in workspace and then just move it into workspace after, then it will focus automatically. Okay, and all the code that we've been writing works the same, because Steve has all the things that a character has. So I have a humanoid root part. Okay, I have less limbs here because Roblox actually has two different character types it can be, or there's a lot more, but these are the two main ones. So R6 has 6 limbs, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then R15 has 15 limbs. Okay, so that's the only difference. So let's get to programming that. So your students might be familiar with this being a morph. Okay, so what we're about to program is a morph. And usually morphs have some sort of circle pad. Okay, and usually these morphs also, okay, have the character that you can morph into, okay, on display. Okay, but this is not the character that I'm gonna let them control. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate this character, and I'm gonna put it in, or it's already in server storage. Okay, but the character that they're gonna control is not this one. It's gonna be the one in server storage, so we don't have to worry about assigning the camera. So I'm just gonna anchor this one, and we're gonna go ahead and start scripting this. So I'm gonna call this a morph pad. Also, any questions so far? All right.
Okay.
Oh. So we're gonna call, let's say morph pad is equal to, again, script.parent. Okay, and we're gonna call this function instead morph character. Okay, and we're gonna say morph pad dot touched, and we're gonna connect morph character. All right, and all right, so let me also define the starter character here that we're going to give them. Or let me just change this name to Steve. Okay. What we want to do is find the player who's controlling this character. Okay, so remember, we made some assumptions. We know that when a person touches this part, their limbs touch the part, and we're just assuming that the parent of those limbs is the character. Okay, because more often than not, this is going to be the case. Okay, is everyone like super clear on that point, on the assumption we're making here? So
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So now that I have the character, okay, the question is, how do I get the player from the character? Okay, well, Roblox has, okay, an awesome function, but this function belongs to the player's object. So I'm gonna player's Roblox. Oh. All right, and players has several functions. Okay, a lot of useful functions here. Okay, but the one of my most favorite ones is get player from character. Okay, and we see by the description it says it returns the player whose character matches the given uh, instance. Okay, so or it returns nil if it can't find one. Okay, so basically we just input a character into this function and we can get a player returned. If it finds one that matches it or who controls it. And so to use this function, I first need to define players. Okay, so players is a sibling of workspace and server storage, and so if the parent of server storage is game, then the parent of players must also be game because these are all siblings. And so we're going to say players is equal to game dot players. Okay, and so I'm going to say local player. Okay, sometimes I become more verbose with like variables that are similar. So players and player are similar. So just to make it clear to the student that this is the player who controls the character, I sometimes call it a player who controls the character is going to be defined as players get player from character character. Okay, awesome. So now we have the player, and I know for a fact that this player has a property called character, so I'm going to say player who controls the character dot character, and we're going to define it as Steve. Okay, and so then we know that once we change the character, we need to then change the parent of Steve. So Steve is still in server storage here, so we're going to make the parent of Steve the workspace instead. So I'm going to say Steve dot parent going to be equal to game dot workspace. All right. So if I go here and I poof over here, okay. If I wanted to make it look like more like you just got morphed like out of here, I could just move this over here. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. All right, and then of course I'm gonna just move it back into server storage. All right, now I'm Steve. Okay, maybe the your student might want to have multiple friends play this game and be able to morph. Okay, well that's a problem because there's only one Steve in server storage. Okay, so maybe I want to clone Steve and then make the clone the new character. Okay, so and that's what we're actually going to do here. Okay, so every single object can be cloned, including models. Okay, so if I go to the functions here, okay, clone, and it doesn't take any inputs, but it returns the clone. Okay, so it says create a copy of an object and all of its descendants. Okay, so all right, so what I'm going to say, so before I change what the character property is equal to, I'm first going to say local Steve clone. It's going to be equal to Steve, and then to use this function, I need to say colon and then clone. And then I'm going to say player who controls the character dot character is going to be equal to Steve clone, and then Steve clone dot parent needs to be game dot workspace. Okay, everyone clear with what we just did? Okay, cool. And so now instead of testing with one player, I'm just going to test with two. And so just a reminder, we can test with multiple players by clicking start, which will it'll open up a server on our computer here. Just give it a second. I have so many applications running. I just upgraded my RAM, so alright. Okay, and so I have two versions of me here. Oh, I'm so far away. Okay, and so now if I step onto here, okay, I get transformed. And if I step onto here, I also get transformed. Okay, so now we have lots of Steves in our game. Alright. So next time will be the last training on making obby related elements. And next time we're gonna see how we can make projectiles in our game. So sometimes we might want to have different traps, maybe shoot maybe a fireball or an arrow or different things. So we're gonna see what objects we can use to create projectiles that the player might have to dodge. Okay, and then we'll move on to how we can create some of the other popular genres of Roblox games. Alright, any questions?
No, thanks a lot. That was really cool.
Awesome. And of course, as always,
Yeah.
I will upload the video and put this place file in the Google Drive. I've been kind of lazy with the last few, but I'll be better this week since I'm not going to have some camps. So, all right. So I'm just going to stop sharing, and then I think I'm going to meet with Francis for 10 minutes, and you guys are welcome to stay if you want to see that training too.
What is it gonna be on actually?